I could do so much better than you, and everyone here knows it, my girlfriend yelled at her birthday party. I shut everything down and walked out. She called me cruel and tried rewriting the night. By the weekend, every scheme she'd built went up in flames. Hey, Reddit. My girlfriend humiliated me in front of everyone, so I stayed calm, shut the whole party down, and walked away. But she and her boss weren't done trying to rewrite the story. Before we get to that, let me start from the beginning. The text came through at 11:47 p.m. I was sitting in my car outside a gas station, engine off, trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do next. Kelsey's message lit up my phone. You know what she said after you left? I stared at it. Typed back, what? 3 dots. Then they disappeared. Then they came back. She said, good. Now I don't have to break up with him before the trip to Monaco. Greg's going to be so much easier to deal with. My hands went numb. I read it 3 times. Then I opened the screenshot she'd attached. There it was. Cassie's actual message in a group chat. Word for word. Time stamped 30 minutes after I walked out of my own apartment. I sat there. Didn't move. Just stared at that screenshot until my phone screen went dark. Then I started the car and drove to the 24-hour copy center downtown. Earlier that night. Her birthday party. I'd spent the entire afternoon setting up our apartment. Cassie wanted everything perfect for her 30th birthday. 30 people coming. Co-workers from the medical device company where she worked as regional manager. Friends from college. People I'd never met. I moved furniture. Set up the drinks table. Made sure we had enough ice. She'd given me a list 2 weeks ago. I followed it exactly. Spent $230 on decorations she picked out. Another $300 on food and drinks. Used my credit card. Like always. She came home at 6. Walked through the apartment inspecting everything. Didn't say thank you. Just pointed at the speaker setup and said it needed to be louder. Told me the lights were wrong. Asked why I hadn't gotten the expensive cheese she wanted. It was $70 for 1 block. So? It's my birthday. I went back to the store. Got the cheese. Another $83 with the fancy crackers she wanted too. When I got back, she was getting ready. Came out at 7 wearing the dress I bought her last month. $450. She'd said she needed it for a work event. Looking at it now, I wondered if Greg had already seen it. She looked at the gift I'd wrapped and left on the counter. Small box. White paper. Simple bow. What's this? Your present. I figured you'd want to open it tonight. She picked it up. Weighed it in her hand. Is this jewelry? Open it. She did. Inside was a silver bracelet. Not expensive. Maybe $120. But it had a charm that matched one her grandmother used to wear. She'd mentioned it once 6 months ago. I remembered. She looked at it. Then at me. This is cute. That word. Cute. Like it was a kid's drawing she had to pretend to like. Not really Monaco energy, is it? She set it down. Didn't put it on. Just left it on the counter and walked away to finish her makeup. I stood there looking at that box. At the bracelet I'd spent 3 weeks finding. The one that matched a memory she'd shared with me. Now just sitting there. Like it meant nothing. People started showing up around 7:30. I played bartender, grabbed coats, made small talk, standard host stuff. Greg showed up at 8:15. Director of sales at her company. Her boss's boss. 42 years old. Divorced. Wore a suit to a birthday party. He walked in like he owned the place. Didn't introduce himself to me. Didn't even look at me. Just headed straight for Cassie. Kissed her on the cheek. Too long. Too familiar. Handed her a gift bag. She pulled out a bottle of champagne. Expensive label. The kind that costs $300 plus. For what's coming, he said. She laughed. That laugh she saves for people she thinks matter. You're too good to me. I was in the kitchen around 9 refilling the ice bucket when I heard her voice cut through the music. Honestly, I don't know why I'm still with him. I stopped moving. Just stood there holding a bag of ice. She was on the balcony with 3 people from her company. I could see them through the glass door. Greg was one of them. Standing close to her. Hand on the railing next to hers. Almost touching. Woman in the red dress said, "He seems sweet, though." Cassie laughed. Not a nice laugh. Sweet doesn't pay for Monaco. Sweet doesn't get you into rooms that actually matter. I need someone who matches my energy. Someone who's going somewhere. Greg smiled. Put his hand on the small of her back. Left it there. You deserve someone on your level, he said. The ice bag was dripping on my shoes. Water pooling on the floor. Then she turned and saw me through the glass. She looked right at me. She didn't look embarrassed. She looked annoyed that I'd heard. I walked out there, calm. Set the ice bucket down on their table. She crossed her arms, voice sharp. Can you go check on the drinks inside? These are work people. I looked at her, then at Greg, his hand still on her back, then at the other 2, then back at her. No, she blinked. Excuse me? You heard me. Her face changed. Got that look she gets when someone doesn't do what she wants immediately. She stepped closer. lowered her voice, but not enough. You're embarrassing me. Go inside. I stayed exactly where I was. Say what you just said again. What? About Sweet not paying for Monaco? Say it again, louder this time. Her eyes went wide. Greg shifted his weight. The two other people suddenly found their drinks very interesting. She recovered fast, raised her voice, made sure people nearby could hear, made sure everyone could hear. You'll never be good enough for me. The conversations around us stopped. Music still playing, but nobody talking. 30 people looking at us. I smiled. Not a real smile. Just something to keep from losing it. Maybe you're right. Then I walked inside. Didn't rush. Just walked normal pace to the speaker and turned it off. Room went completely quiet. 30 people staring at me. Party's over. Everyone out. You got your spotlight. That's the last one I'm paying for. Someone laughed. Thought I was joking. Now. I opened the front door. Stood next to it. Didn't move. Cassie came in from the balcony. Face red. Voice shaking. What are you doing? Ending your party. Everyone needs to leave. This is my birthday. And this is the apartment I pay 70% of the rent for. The lease is in my name. Everyone out. Now. People started moving, grabbing coats, looking uncomfortable. A few tried to say goodbye to Cassie, but she wasn't listening. She was staring at me, disbelief on her face. Greg was one of the last to leave. Stopped in front of me, straightened his suit jacket. You're making a mistake. You'll be hearing from my lawyer soon. His jaw tightened. He left. I didn't have one yet. I just needed him to believe I would. It took about 20 minutes for everyone to clear out. I stood at the door the entire time, making sure they all left, making sure they all saw that I'd ended it, that she didn't get her spotlight moment, that her birthday celebration died because of what she'd said. Two people lingered, my buddy Chris and his girlfriend Amy. They'd stayed quiet in the corner during the exodus. Chris walked over. You good? Stay for 5 minutes. I need witnesses. For what? That I'm asking her to leave peacefully. That this stays calm. Amy pulled out her phone, started taking notes in her app. Time, date, who was present, what happened. Cassie slammed the balcony door shut, walked over. What the hell was that? Grab your things, you're leaving tonight. This is my home. No, this is the apartment I pay for while you spend shared money on your affair. You're leaving. She looked at Chris and Amy, voice changing, softer, playing victim. You're seriously going to let him do this? Chris shrugged. We're just here to witness. He asked you to leave. You can do it peacefully, or he can call the police for a civil standby while you grab essentials and leave tonight. She turned back to me, trying that fake calm voice. You're overreacting. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. Which part didn't you mean? That I'll never be good enough? Or that you need someone who matches your energy for Monaco? She went pale. Who told you about Monaco? Does it matter? That's a work trip. With Greg. He's my boss's boss. It's a conference. I pulled out my phone, opened our shared calendar app, the one we used for bills and appointments, showed her the Monaco entry she'd created 3 weeks ago. Conference is spelled Monacogetaway. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. Pack a bag. You're staying somewhere else tonight. You can't kick me out. Watch me. You have 30 minutes. If you refuse to leave peacefully, I'm calling the police for a civil standby while you collect your things and go. I have video showing I asked you to leave calmly. Your choice. What video? Amy held up her phone. Started recording when you came in from the balcony. Audio's clear, video's clear, time-stamped. I hadn't asked Amy to do that. She just did it. Smart. Cassie's face went from pale to red. She looked at all three of us. Her shoulders dropped. She stormed into the bedroom, came out 17 minutes later. 2 bags. Makeup bag, her laptop, some clothes. Stopped at the door. This isn't over. Yeah, it is. She left. Door slammed behind her. Chris looked at me. You need anything? Locksmith number. And I need you to send me a copy of whatever Amy recorded. He pulled out his phone. Locksmith can get here after midnight. I'll meet him. Amy's airdropping you the video now. Can you stay and meet him? I need to go print some things while everything's fresh. Yeah. I'll hand off the keys tomorrow morning. Chris stayed behind to meet the locksmith while I went to print everything. Locksmith changed all the locks at 1:30 a.m. I paid him over the phone while Chris stood there with him. Chris brought me 3 copies of the new keys the next morning. Cost me $240, worth every cent. The copy center was still open. I drove there and walked in with my laptop. Place was empty except for the clerk and one other guy printing something. I paid for the overnight block, took my laptop into the small office space in the back, locked the door, started printing. First, Kelsey's screenshots, the group chat message about Monaco and Greg, printed 5 copies. Then I logged into our shared cloud account, found the travel folder. 43 photos of Cassie and Greg Across multiple cities over 11 months. Printed everything. Bank statements next. Joint account going back 24 months. Created a spreadsheet showing every rent payment. My 70% contribution versus hers. Total, $28,400 more from me. Credit card charges next. Found dozens of charges that had nothing to do with our life. Hotels, flights, dinners, ride shares. Then totaled them. $8,200 of shared money spent on her affair. Printed it all. 3 full binders by 4 a.m. Left the copy center. Stored the binders in my car trunk along with my laptop and anything else she might try to mess with later. Got maybe 2 hours of sleep. Then I was up making calls. First call was to my building's property manager. I need to know if your security cameras cover the hallway outside my unit. They do. Why? I need footage from last night, 8 p.m. to midnight. I had to ask my girlfriend to leave, and I want documentation showing she left peacefully. I can pull that for you. Cost is $50 for the export. Do it. I'll pick it up today. Give me until 10. Second call was to work. I'm a commercial insurance adjuster for a regional firm. I called my supervisor directly. I need to brief you on a personal situation that might affect work. What's going on? I ended a 4-year relationship last night. It was my girlfriend's birthday party. She said some things in front of people that were pretty humiliating. I documented it. Asked her to leave. She left peacefully. I'm telling you because there's a chance she might try to retaliate by contacting the company. Silence for a second. Then, what kind of retaliation? False allegations. She works in medical device sales. She's used to spinning stories. If anything comes in, emails or calls, I need you to forward them to me immediately. I'm getting a lawyer today. You think she'd really do that? I think someone who humiliated me in front of 30 people might not handle rejection well. Fair point. Keep me updated. Forward any legal documentation to HR and me. Will do. At 8 a.m., I called a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. I asked Chris for a reference. He gave me Howard Bennett, family law and employment litigation. Got an appointment for 10 a.m. At 9:45, I picked up the security footage from my building. USB drive with 4 hours of hallway camera footage. Showed Cassie arriving at the apartment. Showed 30 people arriving for the party. Showed them all leaving between 9:20 and 9:45. Showed Cassie leaving at 10:17 with 2 bags. No police, no drama. Clean exit. Added it to my evidence collection. Showed up at Howard's office at 9:55. He was maybe 60. Gray hair. Sharp eyes. Looked bored until I started showing him the credit card charges. This is fraud. Can I prove it? You just did. She used shared funds for personal expenses during an affair. You have documentation that these weren't household purchases. That's conversion at minimum, possibly fraud depending on how we frame it. What about the affair itself? Does her company have a fraternization policy? I haven't checked yet. Do that today. If they do, and he's in her reporting chain, that's a separate problem for both of them. Not your problem. Theirs. We talked for 90 minutes. He took copies of everything. The photos, the bank statements, the spreadsheets, the security footage, Amy's video from the party, Kelsey's screenshots. You did this exactly right. Most people wait until they're emotional. You documented while you were cold. That's how you win. She's going to come after me. Probably. When she does, you escalate harder, but cleanly. Everything by the book. Make her the unreasonable one. What's my next step? Send me her company's employee handbook. I need to see their policies. Then wait. Let her make the first move. Document everything. Every text, every call, every interaction, and if she shows up at your home or workplace, we file for a protective order immediately. I left his office and drove straight to the medical device company's website. Found their employee handbook in the careers section. Public download, 64 pages. Found the fraternization section on page 47. Clear policy. No romantic or sexual relationships between supervisors and subordinates. Both parties subject to immediate termination. Zero tolerance. Greg was director of sales. Cassie reported to the VP of sales, who reported to Greg. Direct chain of command. Photographed the policy page, sent it to Howard. Got a text back in 5 minutes. Perfect. That's what we needed. Now we wait for her to escalate. She will. She started texting at noon. First it was apologies, then insults, then threats. I didn't respond to a single message. I screenshotted everything, saved it by date, and forwarded batches to Howard twice a day. The folder stopped feeling like evidence and started feeling like a diary of her escalation. Howard's response, don't engage. Let her fill the evidence folder. Day 2, she showed up at the apartment. Building security called me first. Cassie's in the lobby. Says she needs to get her belongings. She already got them. I packed everything she left behind and dropped it at the security desk yesterday morning. You have it logged? Yeah. 3 boxes. Signed and dated. She hasn't picked them up yet. Tell her they're there. Tell her she needs to show ID to collect them. Tell her not to come to my door. If she does, call me immediately. Got it. 10 minutes later, she was at my door, pounding on it. I know you're in there. Open up. I called Chris. He was working from home. You free for 20 minutes? Yeah. Can you come to my apartment? She's at my door. Be there in 10. I waited. Didn't open the door. Just listened to her pound and yell. Building security must have heard because they called me back. She's refusing to leave your floor. You want us to call the police? Not yet. I have someone coming. If she's still there when he arrives, then yes. Chris showed up 8 minutes later. Knocked on the door. Jake, it's Chris. I opened it. He came in. She tried to push past him. Move. No, Chris said. He pulled out his phone and started recording again. This is the second time in 2 days you've shown up after being asked to leave peacefully. You've been told your stuff is with building security. You need to leave this hallway or the police will be called. This is between me and Jake. No, I said from inside. It's not. Your stuff is downstairs. Get it and leave. We need to talk. No, we don't. Anything you need to say can go in a text. Leave or I'm calling the police for a civil standby while you collect your things. She stared at Chris, at me, then back at Chris. Her jaw clenched. You're going to regret this, she said. Then she left. Chris came inside. She's escalating. I know. You need to file something. Restraining order. Protection order. Something. My lawyer said to document first. Build the case, then file when it's ironclad. How much more do you need? She'll give me more. People like her always do. He left. I sent the new video to Howard. Added it to the evidence folder. My cousin called that night. Heard about the breakup through family. Just apologized to her. Make peace. This doesn't need to be a war. She humiliated me in front of 30 people. She's been cheating for almost a year. She's lying about me to everyone. And you think I should apologize? I'm just saying. Sometimes it's easier to be the bigger person. I am being the bigger person. I'm protecting myself legally instead of doing something stupid. That's as big as I get. Hung up. Didn't talk to him again for months. That afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. Different area code. Then 2 voicemails. Cassie's mother. First one demanded an apology. Second one offered money for a non-disclosure agreement. I didn't answer any of it. Just archived everything. Texts, voicemails, timestamps, and sent the batch to Howard. His response, do not engage. Mom's trying to buy silence. That tells me daughter knows she's exposed. Keep building. Day 4, she went nuclear on social media. Long post on her main account, public. Finally escaping a toxic relationship. Financial abuse. Isolation. Control. Finding the courage to leave. Didn't name me directly. Didn't have to. Everyone who knew us could figure it out within minutes. I archived it and sent it to Howard. He called me this time. This is good for us. How is this good? She just made specific false claims publicly. If we can prove they're false, which we can, we have defamation. Keep saving everything. Don't respond. Let her hang herself. She's messaging people. I'm getting texts from friends asking if I'm okay. Perfect. Get screenshots from anyone she's messaged. If they're willing to send them, even better. We're building a pattern of malicious false statements. I texted Kelsey. She was Cassie's friend originally, but we'd become friendly over the years. She'd sent me the Monaco screenshot. I trusted her. Is Cassie messaging people about me? Yeah. She's hitting up everyone who was at the party. Same story. Financial control. Emotional abuse. Says you manipulated her into staying. Says you threatened her when she tried to leave. Can you send me screenshots? Already saved them. Sending now. 6 images came through. Direct messages from Cassie to mutual friends. Same script in all of them. Slightly different wording, but same story. I was controlling. I was abusive. She was scared to leave. She finally escaped. She knows I sent you the Monaco screenshot. Cut me off completely. Told everyone I betrayed her. I'm sorry you lost friends over this. I didn't lose friends. I found out who they really were. Send this stuff to your lawyer. Sent them all to Howard. Perfect. Keep them coming. Then things took a turn. Someone from their company saw Cassie's post, saw the comments, saw Greg's response. He'd written, proud of you for standing up. You deserve so much better. Someone screenshot that exchange and sent it to their company's HR department with a note. Might want to look into this. Took 3 days for them to call me. Woman named Patricia from HR Professional Voice. Careful words. We understand you may have information relevant to an ongoing internal investigation involving 2 of our employees. What investigation? I can't disclose specifics, but we've received reports of potential policy violations. We believe you may have relevant information. What kind of information? Evidence of an inappropriate relationship between a supervisor and subordinate. Evidence of expense report irregularities. Evidence of company policy violations. I stayed quiet for a moment, thinking. What are you offering? Confidentiality, protection of your identity, use of information for internal purposes only. We wouldn't share it with the employees in question unless required for disciplinary proceedings. I want that in writing. I can send a confidentiality agreement within the hour. Send it. I'll have my attorney review it. Agreement came through 40 minutes later. I forwarded it to Howard. He approved it with 2 small changes. I sent those back to Patricia. She agreed. Final version came through. I signed it. Sent it back. Then I compiled everything. The photos from the cloud account. The timeline going back 11 months. The expense records showing $8,200 in affair-related charges on the shared credit card. The company fraternization policy showing clear violation. Put it all in a password-protected zip file. Uploaded it to the secure link Patricia sent. Got a response 2 hours later. Thank you. This information has been forwarded to our investigation team. You'll receive confirmation once our review is complete. 5 days later, Kelsey texted me. They're both fired. What? HR investigation wrapped yesterday. They found policy violations and evidence of expense fraud. Both terminated effective immediately. Greg tried to fight it. They showed him the evidence and he left without another word. I sat down on my couch, stared at my phone. How's Cassie taking it? Not well. She's posting that she's a victim of workplace retaliation, that she was forced into the relationship and is now being punished for speaking out. It's getting messy. Of course she is. That evening, Greg started calling. First voicemail was a threat about destroying careers and knowing lawyers. 2 hours later, a text from a different number telling me to be smart and drop whatever I was planning. I didn't respond. Just saved everything, blocked both numbers, and sent the batch to Howard. That's 2 threats. 1 more and we file. He's making this easy. Next morning, building security called me at 6:15 a.m. Someone's in the lobby asking for you. Says he needs to deliver legal documents. What's his name? Won't say. Says it's confidential. Is he a process server? He's not wearing any identification. Just a guy in jeans and a jacket. Tell him to leave the documents with security or leave the property. If he refuses, call the police. Will do. 10 minutes later, they called back. He refused to leave documents. Refused to leave property. Police are here now. He left when they showed up. Did you get his description? License plate? Got a photo actually. Want me to send it? Yes. Text it to me. Photo came through. Greg. Standing in my building lobby at 6 a.m. trying to intimidate me. Sent it to Howard. This is number 3. That's harassment and intimidation. File for protective order today. I'll have it ready by noon. Protective order application was filed by 2 p.m. Emergency ex parte hearing happened that afternoon. Judge reviewed the threats, the 6 a.m. lobby incident, and the video evidence. Temporary order granted by 5 p.m. Greg and Cassie both named. No contact, no communication, no physical proximity within 500 feet. Violation meant immediate arrest. Process server delivered it to both of them the next day. Meanwhile, Cassie kept pushing harder with the lies. She'd built a whole story. I'd controlled the finances. I'd isolated her from friends. I'd manipulated her into staying. I'd threatened her when she tried to leave. Her post got shared, got comments, got traction. Half of them were supportive. Other half were questioning, asking for more details, asking why she stayed so long, asking if she had proof. She doubled down, posted more, added details, made it more specific. Each detail more false than the last. Then things got messy at work. My supervisor called me into a meeting on a Wednesday morning. Looked uncomfortable. We received some concerning emails about you over the weekend. From who? Anonymous accounts, but they're making serious allegations. Personal conduct, abuse, instability. Someone saying we should know what kind of person we're employing. Can I see them? He turned his monitor. 3 emails, all from different throwaway accounts, all saying basically the same thing. I was abusive to my ex. I was unstable. I was dangerous. Company should know. I pulled out my phone, opened my email, found the message I'd sent to my supervisor and HR 3 days after the party. The one where I'd warned them this might happen. I told you this was coming. I have a lawyer. I'm building a defamation case. These emails are part of that pattern. My attorney can send you documentation if you need it. He looked surprised. You told us this might happen? 3 days after I ended the relationship. Check your email from last week. Subject line. Personal situation heads up. He checked. Found it. Read it. You actually warned us ahead of time. Because I knew this was coming. People who humiliate others don't handle consequences well. Can you forward me these emails? My lawyer needs them. I'll send them now. Forwarded them to Howard. He responded within minutes. Proof of malicious intent. Proof of attempt to damage your employment. This strengthens our case significantly. Any idea how she got your work email? It's on the company website. I do field inspection. Clients need to reach me. That's targeted harassment. Keep documenting. My supervisor called me back 2 hours later. HR wants to meet with you. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Am I in trouble? No. They want to document your side. Protect the company, protect you. Meeting happened the next morning. HR director and my supervisor. I brought printed copies of my lawyer's letter explaining the situation. Brought the timeline. Brought copies of the protective order. HR director reviewed everything. You've handled this professionally. You warned us in advance. You provided documentation. You've obtained legal representation. This is exactly what we want to see when an employee faces false allegations. I just didn't want this affecting my work. It won't. We're documenting this meeting. If any further communications come in, we'll forward them directly to your attorney. And we're noting in your file that these allegations have been investigated and determined to be part of a personal dispute with no merit. Thank you. One more thing. We have an opening for senior adjuster, regional position, more responsibility, better pay. Your supervisor recommended you before any of this happened. We're still moving forward with that interview. Interested? I stared at her. Yes, absolutely. Good. Interviews next Monday. I got the job. $15,000 raise, company car, better benefits, promotion effective in 2 weeks. Then Kelsey sent me something huge. You need to see this. Screenshot of a group chat. Cassie and 4 of her friends, dated the day after her birthday party. Cassie's message. Okay, here's what we're doing. If anyone asks about Jake, use this script. Say he was controlling. Say he isolated me. Say he managed all the money and I couldn't leave. Make it consistent. Make it believable. If we all say the same thing, people will believe it. Another message. Post on social media. Share my posts. Comment supportive things. Make him look like the bad guy. I need this to be the story everyone believes. Another. If he tries to defend himself, call him an abuser. Call him manipulative. Say he's gaslighting. Make sure nobody believes him. I forwarded it to Howard immediately. He called me. This is the smoking gun. She coordinated false allegations with witnesses. She planned the smear campaign. She instructed people what to say. This is conspiracy to defame. This is malicious. This wins us the case. How did Kelsey get this? Does it matter? I guess not. We're filing defamation suit tomorrow. Full complaint. Naming Cassie. 15 specific false statements. Documented damages. Coordinated malicious smear campaign. This is ironclad. Complaint was filed Thursday morning. Cassie was served Friday afternoon. She tried calling me from 7 different numbers over the next week. I didn't answer any of them. Just logged the attempts, blocked each number, and sent Howard the evidence twice a day. He added every violation to the protective order enforcement file. Then she tried something different. Saturday morning, I was at the grocery store. Produce section. Heard someone behind me. Jake. Turned around. Cassie. Phone in her hand. Pointed at me. Recording. Don't walk away. We need to talk. No, we don't. You're violating a protective order. Stop recording me. I just want to talk. Why are you being so cruel? She was baiting me. Trying to get me to react on camera. Trying to get footage of me being angry or aggressive. I pulled out my phone. Started recording her. You're violating the protective order right now. And you're recording me. I'm leaving. Don't follow me. I walked away. Left my cart. Went straight to my car. Called the police from the parking lot. I need to report a protective order violation. Gave them the case number. Gave them the location. Sent them my video showing her approaching me, recording me, refusing to leave me alone. Police went to her parents' house where she was staying. She got arrested for violating the protective order. Spent 6 hours in custody before her mom bailed her out. Howard filed a motion to hold her in contempt. Judge granted it. She got fined $2,000 and warned that another violation meant jail time. The defamation lawsuit moved forward. Discovery phase was brutal for her. Howard requested financial records, communication logs, social media posts, witness lists, the group chat coordination, everything. Her lawyer was some guy she'd found cheap. Probably cost her $2,000 total. He responded with a motion to dismiss. Said I couldn't prove damages. Said her statements were opinions protected by free speech. Judge denied it. Scheduled mediation. Said if we couldn't settle, we'd go to trial. Said the evidence was strong enough to proceed. Said Cassie's lawyer should advise her to settle. Mediation was set for a Wednesday at 2 p.m. downtown office building. Neutral mediator. I showed up with Howard. We had 3 binders. The original evidence binders I'd printed at the copy center that first night. Every photo, every bank statement, every expense record, plus 2 more binders of new evidence. The group chat coordination screenshots, the protective order violation, the work harassment emails, the video from the grocery store, the security footage, Amy's party video, everything documented and organized. Cassie showed up with her lawyer. She looked different, thinner, Hair wasn't done. Wearing jeans and a sweatshirt, no makeup. Her lawyer looked nervous. We sat in separate conference rooms. Mediator went back and forth. First offer came through after 30 minutes. She's willing to post a retraction and remove her posts if you drop the lawsuit. Howard didn't even look at me. Just slid our settlement demand across the table. This, all of it, non-negotiable. Mediator looked at it. Eyes went wide. This is extensive. She coordinated a malicious defamation campaign. She violated a protective order. She attempted to damage his employment. She owes him money from the relationship. This is actually generous compared to what a jury might award. He took the paper and left. An hour later, he came back. She's agreed to your terms. Howard pulled out the settlement agreement. We'd already drafted it. 9 pages, single-spaced. Every term spelled out in detail. Terms. 1. She posts a retraction on all social media platforms, stating her allegations were false and made maliciously. Retraction stays pinned for 60 days. 2. She sends written individual retractions to all 15 people she messaged directly. Each retraction must use specific language admitting she lied. 3. She pays $18,000 in damages, $750 per month for 24 months. First payment due in 10 days. 4. She pays my attorney fees, $6,300, due within 30 days. 5. She signs a non-disparagement agreement. Any future false statements result in a $10,000 penalty per violation, plus reinstatement of the full lawsuit. 6. The court order stayed in place, and the settlement added a no-contact clause with penalties if she violated it. 7. She provides proof of retraction posting and message sending within 72 hours. 8. If she misses a single payment, full amount becomes due immediately with interest. The mediator took it to her room. Another hour. Then he came back. It's signed. Howard reviewed every page, every signature, every initial, every date line. We're done. I walked out of that building and sat in my car. Didn't feel victorious. Just felt like I could finally breathe. Settlement executed within a week. Retraction went up on her social media. Public post, pinned at the top of her profile. I want to retract and apologize for statements I made about Jake regarding abuse and control. These allegations were false. They were made out of anger and hurt following our breakup. Jake did not abuse me. He did not control me financially. He did not manipulate or threaten me. I created these false narratives and coordinated with others to spread them. I am deeply sorry for the harm I caused to his reputation and professional standing. This retraction is being made as part of a legal settlement. Individual retractions sent to everyone she'd messaged. Kelsey forwarded me one. I need to retract statements I made to you about Jake. Those statements were false. I coordinated a campaign to damage his reputation through false allegations. I apologize for attempting to manipulate your perception of him. First payment hit my account 10 days later. $750, right on time. Greg tried to contact me one more time. LinkedIn message request. I know we can't talk directly, but I want you to know what you did destroyed 2 careers and a future together. Hope you're happy. Screenshot. Forward to Howard. Report to LinkedIn. Account suspended for violating protective order. The settlement didn't replace the order. It sat on top of it. 18 months into the payment plan. I'm doing good. New job's solid. Managing a team of 8 adjusters now. Company car sits in my dedicated parking spot. Office with a window. Name on the door. Boss told me I'd handled my situation like a professional. Said that's exactly the kind of person they want in leadership. Moved to a new apartment. Different part of town. 2 bedrooms. Top floor. Quiet building. No shared history. Started fresh. Started training for a half marathon. Up to 8 miles now. Lost 15 pounds. Put on muscle. Feel stronger. In control. Went on dates. Nothing serious yet. Just coffee. Dinner. Normal conversations with people who don't make me feel like I'm not enough. Remembered what healthy actually feels like. Settlement payments kept coming. Every month, right on time. $750. 18 payments down. 6 more to go. Then I ran into her. Was grabbing lunch downtown on a Tuesday. Small sandwich place on the ground floor of my office building. Ordered at the counter. Turned around with my tray. She was sitting at a table by the window. Alone. Saw me the same moment I saw her. We both froze. She looked different. Still thin. Hair pulled back. Working clothes. Retail name tag from a department store. I could have left. Could have gone back to my office. But I didn't. Walked over to her table. Cassie. She looked up at me. Jake. You're in my building. This is where I work. I didn't know. I just started this job last week. This place is close to the store. You need to find a different lunch spot. I can't afford to be picky about where I eat. I looked at her. Really looked at her. How's the retail job? It's fine. It's work. Making payments on time. I know I haven't missed one. Good. Don't start. She nodded. Looked down at her sandwich. I really am sorry. Not because of the settlement. Because I actually am. I destroyed everything. My career, my friendships, my relationship with my parents. All of it. Yeah, you did. I know you won't forgive me. I'm not asking for that. I just needed you to know the apology is real. I pulled out my phone, showed her a calendar. Your last payment is due in 6 months, November 15th. After that day, you and I have no connection. No reason to ever think about each other again. I know. Find a different lunch spot. I walked away, threw my sandwich away on my way out. Wasn't hungry anymore. Got back to my office, closed the door, sat at my desk, felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not vindication, just nothing. She'd become exactly what she deserved to become. Someone who'd burned every bridge and was now working retail, making minimum wage while paying me $750 a month she couldn't afford. The Monaco trip never happened. Greg got fired, lost his career, lost whatever relationship he'd rebuilt after the divorce. Last I heard, he was working some low-level sales job in a different state. Cassie lost everything she'd valued. The career she'd been so proud of, the lifestyle she'd said I couldn't provide, the image she'd built, all gone. And me? I got promoted, got paid, got my reputation back, got my life back. That night I opened my laptop, pulled up the evidence folder, the binders I'd printed that first night at the copy center, the photos, the bank statements, the spreadsheets, all of it. Dragged it to trash, emptied trash, deleted the backups, deleted the cloud copies, deleted everything. Didn't need it anymore. Checked my bank account. Settlement payment had cleared. Payments coming in like clockwork. Phone stayed quiet. No unknown numbers. No burner texts. No violated protective orders. Clean. 6 months later, November 15th, final payment came through. $750. Opened my banking app. Confirmed it cleared. $18,000 total. Full settlement paid. Pulled up the settlement agreement. PDF. Everything done. All settled. Howard had the originals. I didn't need a copy anymore. Closed the file. Deleted it. Grabbed my keys. Went to the gym. Did my workout. Came home. Made dinner. Watched the game. Phone rang once. Unknown number. I let it ring until it stopped. Then I went back to my food. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true. Man up. Your boxing dream is pathetic. My dad said after canceling my knee surgery, so my golden sister could go vacation in Europe. I lost my shot. Then I stopped being useful and watched them suffer. So here's something nobody tells you about being good at something. People will worship the ground you walk on right up until the moment you actually need their help. Then suddenly, everyone's got other priorities. I, 22 male, was finally turning pro after 14 years in the amateurs. If you don't know what that grind looks like, imagine getting punched in the face for free since age 8. Tournament every weekend. Busted knuckles. Road trips. Skipping normal life. Gym at dawn. Been doing this since Dad put me in boxing for discipline. By high school, promoters were watching. Senior year, I won Golden Gloves. Dominic Torres, a Detroit boxing legend who runs a fighter support foundation, handed me the trophy. Coach had me training 6 days a week, up at 4:45 a.m. By evening, my legs were concrete, but the wins kept coming. Pro managers were paying attention. 3 contacted me within 2 weeks. Everything I'd sacrificed since age 8 was finally paying off. Then, on March 12th, during sparring, my right knee exploded. Not the good pop, the kind where your vision whites out. I was pivoting off my back leg when the joint gave out. Hit the canvas hard. Coach was there instantly. I tried standing, collapsed immediately. Sharp, deep, wrong. Sports Medicine Center gave me the initial diagnosis. Knee strain, rest, and ice. But after 3 weeks, the pain got worse. Walking became torture. Stairs impossible. Training out of the question. April 5th, Coach drove me to the orthopedic center. Full MRI, mobility tests. Complex meniscus tear with cartilage damage. Bones grinding together. The kind of injury that ends careers if you ignore it. Without surgery, permanent damage, career over, no commission clearance. 5 years from now, you're limping with arthritis. With surgery and rehab, full recovery. 8 months of physical therapy. The surgeon recommended June 14th, right after amateur commitments wrapped. Summer for recovery. Back in the ring by spring. I called Dad to explain. I was reluctant, but I needed him. He was first person I saw leaving the ring. Surgery cost. $14,000 out of pocket after insurance. Not cheap, but manageable for a senior accountant with 23 years in. He didn't hesitate. Of course we'll handle this. Your future depends on it. I still have that text saved. April 7th, 6:47 p.m. Screenshot in a folder I started that same week. He offered 3 weeks off work for recovery. First week would be rough. Help with mobility, medications, appointments. Already planning it. Guest room downstairs, work remotely. First time since mom died that my needs actually mattered. Should have known better. I got home from training camp in early June, 2 weeks before scheduled surgery. The 3-hour drive from Detroit to Grand Rapids was brutal. Every pothole sent sharp reminders through my knee that something was wrong. The house looked the same. Same faded exterior. Same creaky porch step. But something felt off the second I walked through the door. Avery's 19 now. Since mom died when she was 5, dad's been obsessed with keeping her happy. She looks exactly like mom. Same blonde hair, blue eyes, smile. Sometimes I'd catch him just staring. The favoritism was consistent. Freshman year, I needed new sparring gear. Dad made me prove the old ones were worn out. Researched cheapest options. Took 3 days of comparison reviews before he'd approve $100. Avery wanted horseback riding lessons. He signed her up for premium package, $200 per session. She went twice. Quit because horses smelled. Never mentioned the wasted $400. When I won Golden Gloves, Dad texted congrats. When Avery got a 3-line role in community theater, he took a week off for every performance, bought flowers each night, posted constantly on social media. The pattern was clear. I could excel at everything. Get a pat on the head. Avery could do bare minimum. Get a parade. Turns out that dynamic was about to cost me everything. That first night home, we ordered pizza because neither Dad nor Avery could cook. We sat around the kitchen table, and I could tell something was up. Avery had that excited energy she always got when she wanted something. Finally, she couldn't contain it. So I have amazing news. I got accepted to that study abroad program in London. First I'd heard about it. Dad immediately beamed at her like she'd won a Nobel Prize. That's wonderful, sweetheart. I knew you'd get in. I offered congratulations, genuinely happy for her. That's great, Avery. What will you be studying? Oh, you know. She waved her hand vaguely. Art, history, and culture. British literature, maybe? They have a really flexible curriculum. But honestly, the best part is the experience. Living in London. Getting to explore Europe. She pulled out her phone and started showing photos. Looked more like a travel brochure than anything academic. Students posing at tourist spots, shopping, drinking tea. The actual classrooms appeared in exactly one photo. The program starts in September, she continued. But here's the really exciting part. Me and the girls are planning this amazing trip before it starts. 3 weeks in Greece and Italy. Athens, Santorini, Rome, the Amalfi Coast. She pulled up a shared document showing their itinerary. Every single day was planned around photo opportunities. Not a single museum or cultural site that didn't come with aesthetic potential. I nodded along, trying to stay engaged despite the throbbing in my knee. Sounds like you have the whole thing planned out. When are you going? Avery's eyes flickered to Dad, then back to me. That nervous tell she always had. Well, that's the thing. The only time that works for everyone is mid-June through early July. And it makes sense because we need time before the program starts. It clicked immediately. Mid-June through early July. The exact window for my surgery and recovery? The recovery Dad had promised to help me through. I set down my pizza carefully. Avery, that's exactly when my surgery is scheduled. Uncomfortable silence. Dad suddenly became intensely focused on his food. Avery looked between us, her expression shifting from excited to defensive. I mean, it's not like you're having open heart surgery or something, she said with a shrug. Can't you just push it back? This is literally once in a lifetime for me. We've already started planning. The hotels are booked. The flights are going up if we wait. Avery, it's not that simple, I said, keeping my voice level. The timing was specifically planned around my fight schedule. If I delay, I might not get medical clearance for my debut, and the doctor was clear that waiting makes the damage worse. It's always about your boxing stuff, she interrupted, rolling her eyes. Some of us have interests besides punching people in the face, and I've been working really hard at school. I deserve something special too. That's when Dad finally spoke up, not defending me, not shutting her down. Kane, is it possible to reschedule? Even a few weeks could work for Avery's plans. I stared at him, feeling the bottom drop out. Dad, we've discussed this multiple times. The surgeon's schedule is booked months in advance. If I reschedule now, it might be fall before he can fit me in. Then my entire pro debut is at risk. I continued, trying to appeal to logic. You said you'd take time off to help me recover. You can't be in 2 places at once. Dad shifted uncomfortably, his accounting brain trying to calculate some way to make this work. Well, that's something we might need to reconsider, he said carefully. Avery needs help preparing for this trip. Getting her situated in London afterward? It's a big step. International travel. Being in a foreign country alone. I felt like I'd stepped into an alternate reality. We were seriously discussing whether my necessary medical procedure should be postponed so Avery could take selfies in Greece. So your vacation time is now going to her leisure trip instead of my medical recovery? Don't be so dramatic, Kane, Avery sighed. You're making it sound way worse than it is. Your knee has been hurting for weeks and you're still walking fine. It can wait. This trip can't. We've already put down deposits. Everyone's counting on their parents. She turned to Dad with those big eyes that always got her whatever she wanted. Dad, tell him he's being dramatic. No one's saying anything definite yet, Dad said weakly, finally looking at me. Let's all sleep on it. Discuss it tomorrow. But I could already see it in his face. The decision was made. Avery had won. My surgery was getting pushed aside for her vacation. Over the next few days, the little changes became impossible to ignore. Dad spent hours at the kitchen table with Avery, researching Greek islands on his laptop. Which ones had the best beaches? Whether they should book a yacht excursion or a sunset sailing tour. Meanwhile, my pre-surgery paperwork sat on the kitchen counter, gathering dust and coffee stains. The folder the surgeon's office had given me, with all the instructions for pre-operative prep. It sat there untouched for 5 days straight, while Dad and Avery planned her trip to paradise. On day 5, the hospital called to confirm the surgery deposit. Standard pre-op procedure. $3,500 to hold the slot. Remainder due day of surgery. I forwarded the payment portal link to Dad via email. Added a note. They need deposit by Friday to hold June 14th date. His reply came 2 hours later. 4 words. I'm not paying it. Friday morning my phone rang. Surgeon's office. Very apologetic. We haven't received the deposit. Unfortunately, we'll need to release your surgical date. Would you like to reschedule for September? I sat on my bed and stared at the wall for 20 minutes. That email from Dad? Screenshot. Folder. Timestamp preserved. I tried one more time on day 6. Caught Dad alone in his home office, reviewing spreadsheets of trip expenses on his computer. I was on crutches. He was comparing resort amenities. Dad, can we talk about the surgery situation? He didn't even look up from his screen. Kane, we've been over this. I've already committed to Avery's trip. The deposits are non-refundable. We'll figure out your surgery when I get back. That could be fall. My whole career. Your career will be fine, he interrupted, looking at me with this expression that made it clear the conversation was over. You've been fighting for years. One more delay won't kill you. That's when it really sank in. He didn't just prioritize Avery's wants over my needs. He genuinely didn't think my needs were urgent. To him, my career-threatening injury was an inconvenience that could wait. I called Coach the next morning, explained everything. He was furious. They can't do this to you, Kane. This is insane. Let me make some calls. Maybe the gym can help cover some costs. When I approached Dad that evening with this potential solution, he got cold real fast. I've made my decision. I've already put down non-refundable deposits for Avery's trip. Your surgery will need to wait until September. I tried one more time. Showed him the email from the surgeon emphasizing the risks of delay. The surgeon had written it clearly. Continued weight bearing on a compromised meniscus accelerates cartilage degradation. Each week of delay increases surgical complexity and extends recovery timeline. Strongly advise against postponement. Dad barely looked at it. Doctors always make things sound more urgent than they are. You can manage with rest until then. Avery deserves this opportunity. That word, deserves. Like she'd earned a vacation by existing, while I apparently didn't deserve basic medical care. I went back to my room and did something I should have done earlier. Started a folder on my laptop. Labeled it documentation. Copied every text, every email. Requested my MRI discs from the imaging center. Filed a HIPAA release for my complete medical records. Emailed the surgeon's office asking for written confirmation of delayed surgery risks. Not rage, strategy. My options were limited. The surgeon was clear during our next call. This is completely irresponsible. Delaying significantly increases your risk of permanent damage. The longer we wait, the worse it gets. I asked about alternatives. Medical loans required credit history I didn't have. The clinic offered payment plans, but needed a $7,000 down payment I couldn't afford. Coach arranged a meeting with my new manager. The promoter's office was sympathetic but direct. Your fight slot is performance-based. If you can't pass medical clearance by fall, we'll have to reassess. The gym can contribute $2,000 through the fighter fund. Better than nothing. Still nowhere near enough. Meanwhile, Avery was living her best life, packing and repacking, taking selfies with her new clothes, asking my opinion on which sundress looked better. Each question felt like another slap in the face. Then one evening she dropped another bomb. She held up 2 nearly identical linen shirts. Which one should I bring for Dad? For the trip, obviously. I just stared at her. Dad's coming with you? She looked at me like I was stupid. Yeah, for the first 10 days to help me get settled. Didn't he tell you? He hadn't. The same vacation time he'd originally promised for my recovery was now going to Greece with Avery. When I confronted Dad, he didn't even have the decency to look guilty. Avery's never traveled internationally. She needs guidance. You're an adult. You can handle things on your own. I packed my stuff that night, told Dad I was heading back to Detroit early. His response was a shrug and, if that's what you think is best, before going back to packing. Avery's parting wisdom? Try not to be so negative all the time. Your attitude is probably making your knee worse. The drive back was brutal. Every bump sent pain through my knee, but it was nothing compared to the cold clarity settling in my chest. Back in Detroit, things went from bad to worse fast. My gym brother Mason let me crash at his apartment near the gym. Good guy. He rearranged furniture to make the place accessible, drove me to appointments, helped when the pain got too intense to sleep. The sports medicine team put me on a modified program. Light stretching, minimal movement drills. Nothing intense. But my knee was already too far gone. The doctor had noted weight-bearing restrictions in my chart. I wasn't supposed to be doing any lateral movement at all. Risk of further cartilage damage was documented on page 3. During what should have been an easy footwork session, something popped again. Worse this time. I went down on the gym floor. The pain was so bad I thought I might pass out. Literally saw stars. My vision went dark around the edges. Coach was beside me instantly, his face grim. We need emergency services. Now. The ambulance ride was a blur. Paramedics asking questions I could barely answer through the pain. Vitals being checked. IV started. Someone saying something about potential nerve damage. The ER doctor's diagnosis was brutal. The meniscus tear had worsened significantly with additional ligament damage. But worse than that, the cartilage damage had progressed. What should have been a straightforward arthroscopic procedure was now looking at possible reconstructive surgery. When he learned a recommended surgery had been canceled for non-medical reasons, his professional mask slipped. This should never have happened. This is basically medical negligence on whoever made this call. You're looking at a much more extensive procedure now with longer recovery and potentially permanent limitation. Who's responsible for this decision? I didn't answer. Couldn't. Because the answer was my own father, and saying that out loud made it too real. The doctor waited for a response, then shook his head and made a note on my chart. They admitted me overnight for observation, pumped me full of pain meds that made everything fuzzy but didn't really stop the pain, just made it distant, like it was happening to someone else. I texted Dad from the hospital bed around 9 p.m. Knee completely gave out during training. In ER damage much worse. Surgery now more complicated and expensive. May have permanent damage. His response came 6 hours later, 3 a.m. my time. He was probably somewhere in Athens, checking his phone between activities. Sorry to hear that. Try to rest. Avery and I leave tomorrow morning. We'll have limited cell service for a few days. That was it. No asking which hospital. No asking if I needed anything. No concern about permanent damage. Just, sorry to hear that. Like I'd told him my car got scratched. That text? Screenshot. Folder. The next day brought the final blow. Coach called me into his office with the gym owner. He didn't waste time. With your current prognosis, we have concerns about your ability to pass commission medical. We need to discuss your fight card slot. Message received. No clearance, no fight date. Without surgery, I couldn't compete. Without competition, I couldn't build the record needed to keep momentum. I left on crutches, more defeated than I'd ever felt. That night, lying in Mason's spare bedroom, staring at the ceiling, something in me just turned off. Done being passive. Done waiting for my family to do the right thing. Done being the responsible one who gets screwed. Time to take control. What I did. Mason found me the next morning still in bed, staring at the ceiling. This can't continue. We need to find another way. What way? I asked. I can't afford surgery. Can't compete without it. Can't build a career if I don't compete. Then we change the game, Mason said. You're not alone. The gym community has resources. Let's find them. He was right. I'd been so focused on Dad's betrayal that I'd basically given up. Stopped looking for solutions. Just wallowed. Over the next 3 weeks, I worked every channel I could find. Local clinic got me direct access to insurance, bypassing Dad entirely. State Boxing Commission outlined emergency grants, but I was waitlisted behind 12 other applicants. Funding wouldn't come through until September at the earliest. Applied for a medical loan through 2 different lenders. Both denied. No credit history, no cosigner, no collateral. Dead ends everywhere. Coach secured me housing through the gym's community program. Mason rallied fighters to launch a crowdfunding campaign that gained traction, but wouldn't cover the full amount in time. Coach had been calling in favors since the day I got hurt. 3 weeks of phone calls, dead ends, maybes that turned into no's. Then, he finally got through to someone who said yes. Phone rang from an unknown number. Dominic Torres. The same guy who'd handed me my Golden Gloves trophy 4 years ago. He'd been funding equipment for the gym's youth program for years, sponsoring kids who couldn't afford gear. Real one. Coach has been calling me for weeks. Finally got the full picture. I'd like to meet. We met at a cafe near the gym that afternoon. Dominic was exactly what you'd expect from a former elite fighter turned businessman. Still in great shape, well-dressed, guarded. He ordered coffee, then sat back. I need to see everything before I commit to anything. MRI, surgeon's estimate, commission clearance timeline, your amateur record. Send it to my office. Board meets every other Thursday. If they approve, payment goes direct to the surgical center. Usually takes 2 to 3 weeks from submission. What's the structure? Advance against future purses. You earn, you pay back a percentage over time. Career ends before repayment, it converts to a grant. All documented. I submitted my records that afternoon. Waited 9 days. Board approved the following Thursday. Surgery scheduled for the next week. I made one last attempt to reach Dad. Not for money. Just to let him know I'd figured it out without him. Found a way to get surgery without your help. Scheduled for next week. His response was classic. Glad you worked something out. Avery and I are extending our stay another week. Having a wonderful time. Hope surgery goes well. No apology, no acknowledgement, just info about their extended vacation. Perfect. That text was all I needed to confirm what came next. After that exchange, I blocked both Dad and Avery's numbers. Surgery day arrived. Mason drove me to the hospital. The surgeon greeted me with professional warmth. You've been through quite an ordeal to get here, but you made it. We're going to do everything we can to get you back in the ring. The procedure took nearly 5 hours. The damage was extensive. When I woke up, Mason was in a chair beside my bed, scrolling his phone. He looked up when I stirred. Welcome back, champ. How you feeling? Like someone took a power drill to my leg. Sounds about right. The surgeon came by during rounds the next morning. Chart in hand. We got everything cleaned up. Bad news is recovery is closer to 13 months than 8. But with proper rehab, I'm optimistic about your long-term prognosis. That first week was rough. Pain meds, physical therapy evaluations, awkward adjustments to life with an immobilized leg, learning how to shower with a plastic bag over my knee, learning how to sleep without rolling onto my bad side. But I had support. Coach checked in daily. Mason made sure I had everything I needed. Gym guys rotated visits, brought food, brought movies, brought conversation that wasn't about my family or my injury, just normal stuff. Then on July 15th, 3 days post-op, Coach stopped by with food and a weird look on his face. Have you heard from your father? There's been major travel disruptions in Europe. Airline strikes. Greece is particularly affected. I hadn't been following news during recovery. Quick search confirmed it. Air travel across Europe basically shut down. Multiple carriers. Airport workers striking. Athens airport chaos. Curiosity got me. Temporarily unblocked Avery to check her social media. Wanted to see if the universe was doing its thing. What I found? A mess. First post, July 15th. Stuck Athens airport 8+ hours. All flights canceled minimum 3 days. Every hotel within 50 miles fully booked. Sleeping on terminal floor tonight. This is insane. Over the next 12 days, they made every wrong move. Instead of waiting for the airline to rebook them for free, Dad panicked. Hired some premium travel concierge service that charged $2,800 upfront to expedite things. The concierge booked them on a route through Istanbul that got canceled twice. Company went dark after taking the money. Classic scam that preys on desperate travelers. Then came the emergency hotel. $450 per night during peak crisis. They stayed 9 nights because Dad kept thinking they'd leave tomorrow. He kept paying to feel in control. Every charge felt like progress, even when it wasn't. Classic sunk cost fallacy playing out in real time. July 27th, Avery posted a rant totaling up their losses. Deleted it 6 hours later, but I got screenshots. Somewhere between $12,000 and $15,000 gone. 2 mistakes. The scam concierge and Dad's refusal to just wait it out. One post survived from before everything collapsed. Caption: Thanks Daddy for making dreams come true, with a flat lay of her passport and sunglasses. The comments on that one aged like milk in the sun. In between the disasters, I got the text I'd been waiting for. Unknown international number. July 16th, 3:17 a.m. my time. Kane, it's Dad. Using temporary phone. We're stuck in Athens. All flights canceled. Avery having complete breakdown. Need to get home ASAP. Can you check flights from Athens to Detroit next 3 to 4 days? Hotel internet barely working. Please. I read it twice. The same man who'd refused to pay my surgery deposit was now asking me for help with his vacation crisis. The guy who'd told me to handle things on your own now needed me to handle things for him. I let it sit for 6 hours, let him sweat, then replied at 9 a.m. my time. Call your airline, call your card issuer. This isn't my job. He tried calling. I declined. He tried again. Declined. Sent follow-up text, really need your help here. My response. You made it clear in June I needed to handle my own problems. You're capable of handling yours. That was it. Blocked the temporary number 2. Went back to recovery. Rehab became a daily checklist. Stretch, ice, elevate, repeat. Tedious as anything, but it actually worked pretty fast. 3 weeks post-op, Dad reached out through email since I'd blocked his numbers. Need to talk. Important. Call when you can. He called that evening. Kane, he began, sounding tired. How's recovery? Fine. What do you want? He let out a heavy sigh. The Greece situation created some complications. Credit utilization spiked to 94%. Missed one payment during the chaos, and my APR jumped to 29%. Tried a balance transfer, got denied. Interest is eating me alive. There it was. My rule-following accountant father had overextended himself badly. The emergency spending, the concierge fees, the panic bookings. His credit was taking hits, and the bills were piling up. Music to my ears. Sounds like a you problem, I said, voice flat as concrete. It is, he confirmed, and it's made me reconsider some recent decisions. I cut him off. Dad, I'm 3 weeks post-major surgery, rebuilding my life without the support I was promised. Your regrets aren't my concern. Long silence. That's fair. I just wanted you to know things aren't working out as expected. They rarely do, I said. Good luck with that. I ended the call. No feelings about it. Zero. He was dealing with consequences. I was dealing with recovery. The difference was I'd found my footing through people who actually showed up while he was slowly realizing Avery wasn't going to save him from anything. She couldn't even save herself. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. The months passed, each day marked by progress, rehab exercises, physical therapy, gradual improvements. The surgical scars faded from angry red to barely noticeable lines. Your progress is remarkable, the surgeon said at my 4-month follow-up. You're ahead of schedule. I know, I answered. Still notice it during lateral movement, but the constant pain is gone. The rehab program lined up with other wins. Commission approved my medical deferral request. Promoter officially held my slot for spring, confirmed in writing. A regional sports equipment company signed me to a small sponsorship deal. Training expenses covered. I'd also started working with Dominic's sports management company part-time, learning the business side of boxing, opening my eyes to opportunities I'd never considered before. Meanwhile, news from home kept trickling in. Avery's London program collapsed after 6 weeks, failed 2 of her 3 courses, academic probation, lost her financial aid eligibility because her GPA dropped below the minimum threshold. They expected me to actually do readings and write papers, she complained when she called. It was supposed to be about experiencing culture. So unfair. That's literally what college is. Reading and writing. What did you think you were signing up for? Whatever. Dad's super mad since he paid for the whole semester up front. They only refunded 20%. And now my loans are coming due, but I can't re-enroll until I fix my GPA somewhere else first. I almost smiled. Almost. Another expensive lesson Dad was paying for. Another consequence rolling downhill. Dad's situation had gotten worse. The Greece disaster had maxed out his credit cards. He'd taken an early withdrawal from his 401k to cover the emergency costs, which meant penalties and taxes he hadn't planned for. Then he had to sell his truck, the one he'd driven for 12 years. Got $8,000 for something worth twice that, because he needed cash fast. I heard from a cousin that he'd also stopped contributing to his retirement entirely. Just treading water now, trying to keep the lights on. He was drowning in debt he'd created over 12 days of panic. And the kicker? The chargeback he'd filed on those concierge fees got denied. The company had disappeared, and his card issuer said he'd voluntarily paid a third party. He lost every dispute. Nearly $3,000 gone. I'd been keeping records of my own situation, not for revenge, for clarity. See, when Dad refused my surgery deposit, something clicked. He'd promised to cover it. Made that promise in writing via email and text messages. Then he deliberately withdrew that support, causing me documented harm. I'd been consulting with a legal clinic. They helped me organize everything and draft something clear. Their advice was simple. Don't threaten, don't extort, just set expectations in writing and stick to them. Because documentation is power. As fall went on, Dad started reaching out more often. His situation had gotten even worse. The 401k withdrawal triggered tax complications. The credit card debt was crushing him. Avery had moved back home after London, showing zero awareness of financial constraints. still expecting Dad to fund her lifestyle. He wanted to rebuild our relationship. Translation: he needed something. When Thanksgiving approached, Dad actually called instead of texting. Kane, I'd really like you to come home for Thanksgiving. It would mean a lot to have family together. Maybe, I said. Gave him nothing. Please. I know I made mistakes, but you're my son. Family is important. Family is important. I let that sit for a second. Let it hang in the air between us. Where was that energy when he was refusing my surgery deposit? Where was family is important when I was lying in a hospital bed? But I decided to go. Not for reconciliation, for closure on my terms. Thanksgiving Day, I drove home. My knee felt strong for the first time in months. Solid. Stable. The physical therapy had worked. I was stronger than before the injury in some ways. More aware of my body. More disciplined about maintenance and prevention. The house looked the same from the outside, but I knew everything inside had crumbled. Dad answered the door, and he looked wrecked. Lines deeper around his eyes. Hair significantly grayer. Shoulders slumped. He'd lost maybe 15 pounds. The kind of weight loss that comes from stress and skipping meals. Kane, it's good to see you, he said, trying for warmth, but his voice just sounded hollow. Inside, nothing had changed except everything had changed. The furniture was the same, but the vibe was completely different. Defeated. Desperate. Avery was sprawled on the couch scrolling her phone, barely acknowledging my arrival with a half-hearted, hey. She looked older than 19, like stress had found her too. Dinner was pathetic. Store-bought turkey, pre-made sides, stuffing from a box. Dad clearly couldn't afford the usual spread. Just generic Thanksgiving food that tasted like surrender. Avery complained about everything. The turkey was dry. Why couldn't we have gone to a restaurant? This was pathetic. Dad just took it. Didn't even defend himself. Just looked exhausted, picking at his food. After dinner, Avery disappeared upstairs without helping clean up. Dad started clearing dishes with slow, robotic movements. We moved to the living room. This was it. Time for the conversation I'd been planning for months. So, I said, settling into the armchair across from him. Financial situation any better? Dad shook his head, and I could see real despair in his eyes. Not really. The credit card debt is killing me. Tax penalties from the 401k withdrawal, plus regular expenses, plus Avery's student loan payments started since she's no longer enrolled. I'm barely keeping my head above water. Some months I'm not sure how I'm going to make it. Rough, I said. Zero sympathy in my voice. None. I was actually hoping, he continued, and here it came, looking uncomfortable in a way that told me he knew what he was about to ask was insane. Maybe you could help me out, just temporarily, just until I get back on my feet. I know you've been working with that sports management company. If you could contribute something toward household expenses, maybe $500 a month, just for a few months? There it was. The real reason for the Thanksgiving invitation. The real reason he'd suddenly wanted to rebuild our relationship. He wanted money from me. $500 a month. $6,000 a year. From the same son whose $14,000 surgery he'd refused. Who he'd abandoned in a hospital bed while taking photos in Greece. Who he'd told to handle things on your own. The audacity was almost impressive. Almost. But not surprising. Avery came downstairs halfway through Dad's ask, like she could sense someone saying the word expenses. Phone in hand, hoodie on, eyes already annoyed. Why is it so quiet? She said, then noticed my face. Dad's drained expression. The tension in the room. She stopped pretending. Wait, are you seriously not helping? Dad didn't answer. That was the answer. Avery's voice dropped into that fake calm tone people use right before they start bargaining. Okay, listen, I need to handle something. My loan payment is due Monday. Dad can't cover it. If it hits collections, it's gonna wreck my credit. She looked at me like I was an ATM that learned boundaries and offended her personally. Just float it, she said. You're back on track. You have people. You can do this. I didn't even argue. Call your loan servicer. Set up a payment plan. This isn't my problem. Her face shifted fast. Sweet to scared to mad, like a buffering wheel. You're really doing this? It's Thanksgiving. You did it first, I said, and that was all I gave her. She stood there, processing. The easy solution was sitting right in front of her, and it was saying no. For maybe the first time in her life, being Avery wasn't enough. I turned back to Dad. I didn't say anything else, just pulled out a manila folder from my jacket, slid it across the coffee table. Inside, printed screenshots of his "I'm not paying it" email, the surgeon's written warning about delayed surgery risks, the ER admission paperwork, his "sorry to hear that" text from Athens, $17,000 in documented additional costs that wouldn't have existed if he'd kept his word. Dad's face went from confused to pale as he flipped through the pages. What is this? That's the paper trail, I said, voice flat. A legal clinic helped me put it together. Organize everything clearly. I pulled out a single sheet from my jacket pocket. This is a boundary agreement. Not legally binding, but it's my line in the sand. Any financial requests from you get ignored. If you push, I'll only respond by email. If you keep pushing, I disappear completely. You don't get to ask me for money. Ever. Dad stared at the paper, then at me, then back at the paper. You can't be serious. You're talking about cutting me off completely? I'm talking about protecting myself, I corrected. From people who've proven they'll sacrifice me the second it's convenient. You made a choice last June, Dad. You chose Avery's vacation over my medical need, her comfort over my future, her photos over my career. Now you're going to live with that choice. His hands were shaking as he held the paper. Sign it, and we stay civil. We can show up to the same family events without drama. We can exchange basic updates. But don't expect anything from me financially or emotionally. Don't sign, and I walk out that door and you never hear from me again. Your call. Kane, I'm your father. You can't just... You stopped being my father, I interrupted, when you abandoned me in a hospital bed while you traveled with Avery. When you chose her wants over my needs. You're not my father anymore. You're just some guy who shares my DNA. This is manipulation. No, I said calmly. Manipulation is what you did when you promised to support my surgery and then took that money to Greece. I'm just setting boundaries, clear ones, in writing. So there's no confusion. The silence stretched out. I could see him calculating, trying to find some way out, some angle, but there wasn't one. He'd backed himself into this corner through his own choices. Finally, he reached for the pen. You've changed, he said quietly as he signed. Yeah, I agreed. I stopped being naive about who actually has my back. He signed it. Symbolic surrender. I took it, folded it carefully, put it in my jacket. One more thing, I said. Avery's debt, her problems, her choices, those are yours to deal with, not mine. Never mind. I stood up. Every time you look at her, remember what she cost you. Not just money, your son. I walked toward the door. Dad called after me. Kane, wait. I turned back. We just did talk. You made your choice. Live with it. I'm doing great. Surgery was successful. Pro debut is back on track. My life is coming together despite everything you did. I paused at the door. The only thing you killed was our relationship. Hope those photos were worth it. I walked out. Got in my car, drove away. Behind me, Dad, standing in the doorway, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Avery's face in the upstairs window, confused. Didn't look back. The drive to Detroit felt different, lighter, like I'd finally set down something I'd been carrying for years. He picked her trip over my knee. I picked my life over him. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.